So yesterday, Digital Extremes put out a dev workshop post letting us know when to expect Deimos Arcana, our next big update, complete with Bone Widow, the infested Kitguns and everything that's coming with it. They also let us know that they are extending Nightwave until the start of next year, due to new consoles dropping in a few days. So Glassmaker is extending until January 21. That's 9 months of Nightwave we have had. 9 months, making it the longest Nightwave in the game so far. That's a long bloody time. Deimos Arcana, we're being told, is well into development, and they're having a test cluster this weekend, I believe, to iron out some of those issues. So it can't be far away from being released. If we go by, I guess, maybe past previous clusters, we could be seeing it as early as next week. Now, we're also getting some new arcanes with this update, ones that will combine or bounce off one another, meaning that you need to equip both of them to make them work. They are called Residuals and Theorems. Residuals are the new infested Kitgun Arcanes, and Theorems are the new Warframe Arcanes. There are 4 Residual Arcanes, and they are based on the elements: hot, cold, electric and toxin. Now, first up is Residual Boils. This will give you a 20% chance to grow assist on a corpse for 12 seconds that will then explode, dealing 80 heat damage and applying heat damage to your equipped Theorem on your Warframe. So again, you need a Theorem equipped on your Warframe as well as this one equipped on your infested Kitgun. Then we have Residual Malador, which gives you a 20% chance to create a frigid mist, dealing 40 cold damage to enemies and applying a cold element to your equipped Theorem. Then we have Residual Shock. You're seeing a trend here, right? Heat, cold, electric. 20% chance on Residual Shock to electrify a corpse for 200 damage in a 10-meter radius and applying electric to your Warframe's Theorem. Then we have the last one, which is Residual Viremia, which is a 20% chance to create a toxic pool for 12 seconds, dealing 40 damage and applying toxic to your Warframe's equipped Theorem. Now, there is 3 of the new Theorems for your Warframe. Okay, first up there is Infection. Okay, standing in a zone created by one of the 4 residuals will increase the damage of companions and summoned allies, or spectres I would imagine, within 60 meters by 4%, stacking up to 15 times, and it lasts for 5 seconds when you leave that initial zone. So basically, if you're using, say, Residual Boils and you get a 20% chance for the assist, that blows up, dealing 80 heat damage and putting heat damage then onto your Warframe's Theorem. If you stand inside that zone, then I'm guessing those summoned allies and spectres will gain that heat damage, and it will stack up to 4% 15 times until you, I guess, leave that zone, or 5 seconds after you leave that zone. Now, if I'm being honest, this one sounds awful. I'm sorry, it just does. Who depends on a spectre or a companion to get work done? Also, some of the zones the residuals give you are quite small. 10 meters isn't exactly a big zone, but it has got a 20% chance. And I guess if there's a high spawn rate, then that would mean there would be several zones down at any given time. But again, this one, the Infection one, relies on your summoned allies, your spectres, and your companions dealing damage. Now, the next Warframe Theorem is a Contagion. Again, standing in a zone created by an infested Kitgun residual will create an orb that will then orbit the player and attack a nearby enemy, applying a status proc. So it sounds basically like a new Null Star for your Warframe, Null Star for all Warframes. There's a reason that a lot of players don't really use range on Null Star. It's good for damage mitigation, but it basically sucks for fucking damage. This might be better, but again, it sounds pretty average. I'm not sure I'd be willing to drop one of my existing arcanes for this Theorem. Now, the last one is the only one that really sounds somewhat good to me, and it is Theorem Demulcent. With this accent, impossible. Standing in one of those residual zones from your infested Kitgun will increase weapon damage by 4%, and it stacks 15 times. So that's a nice boost in weapon damage. Combine this, I guess, with the fact that it has got a 20% chance on some of those residuals, and in a high spawn rate area, you will have a lot of those residual zones down. And then if you combine it with, say, the first one, which I think was Residual Boils, which gives you heat damage, it would be really nice. Armor reduction plus weapon damage boost. Sounds like they bounce off one another quite well. But again, it is a big what if. We haven't got these in game yet, so we can't test them ourselves, and we could be wrong. The other ones could be really, really good, but they don't sound very good right now. The big thing about having to use both of these new types of arcanes, though, is that they only work with one another. One on the infested Kitgun and another on your Warframe, which will mean you will have to drop one of your existing arcanes that you already have equipped or might have equipped, like Guardian, like Energize, like Grace, like Fury, like Aegis, and so on. Again, a 10-meter radius on some of these new residuals isn't exactly a large radius. 20% could mean that they proc a lot in Steel Path or in missions where the spawn rate on enemies is very high, but we don't know how powerful these kit guns are going to be yet. And right now in Warframe, melee weapons are king by a country mile, by a long way. Other weapons don't even compare to some of our melee weapons. Let me know what you think of these new arcanes and how they sound, and of course of the extension of Nightwave until January 2021. And as always, thanks very much for watching.